Hey everybody, I have my Laura Sketches Reimagined for this week to share with you today. There is our sketch. I'm going to definitely mix it up a little bit today. I'm going to be using my Mega Summer Kit. This is my last layout using my Mega Summer Kit. And so I left this part in where I kind of show you what I have left and those kinds of things because I've actually already broken it all down and I've already started assembling my How to Kill a Kit with Style fall Mega Summer Kit. Mega Fall Kit, right? So I have a lot of those enamel dots left. I'm going to go ahead and use them. I actually used a lot of the paper pads. I'm going to go ahead and kind of pull out the scraps. The reason I'm doing this is because I really want to use as many of them on this particular layout as I can. I chose this sketch for today because I knew it could work really well with all those strips to get some of these scraps done. I never used those beautiful wood veneers from Some Assembly Required, and they might actually go into my fall kit. I haven't decided yet. Lots of alphabets there. You're going to see me kind of play with these alphabets, trying to use up some. And actually, I used up all of the N's, all of the E's from that one set. So I'm probably just going to toss them now. These are all the scraps I have left. And I actually kind of set them aside. So I use some of them on this page, but then I set a lot aside because I have a series I'm doing with a bunch of YouTubers starting next month that focuses on scraps. So these are all the full sheets of paper. I'm just kind of flipping through them. I decided I wanted to use another full sheet from this kit, so I'm going to go ahead and grab a pattern paper to use as my background. I'm going to just kind of flip through, see what I have left here. I'm kind of regretting that I didn't do a yellow and blue layout because those three papers work so well together. Oh well, next time. Okay, so I decided on this kind of polka dot paper as my background. I have all of those scraps that I can cut down to create the strips with. So the sketch called for, I think, like 2 pattern papers or something like that. Like it was a small amount. I wanted more, so I'm going to bulk up those areas with the paper strips because I want to use more of my scraps. So I pulled out my guillotine trimmer. I never found the little arm thing, so I bought a new trimmer. But this is still pretty good for anything less than 6 inches. And it's still my sharpest and best trimmer, so I do pull it out. I am using that trimmer to go ahead and cut a whole bunch of strips. So I'm taking all these different pieces from my kit. I'm cutting a bunch of strips. I'm going to use this kind of cut apart square piece as part of my layout too, so I'm going to set that aside. So I'm going to go ahead and use these last 2 pieces of acetate. These are the last 2 scraps that I had in my kit. And I really wanted to use them because, first of all, Hambly. You guys know I hoard it and I have so much of it. So I got to use a whole sheet of acetate working with this kit, which made me super happy. So I'm going to go ahead and use these last 2 pieces. These pieces I didn't even have to trim down. They just happened to be like perfect sizes to go ahead and use. I'm going to start with the strips across the bottom. Again, the sketch calls for like, I think 2 strips or something like that. I'm using like 5. I have all these different strips of color that are kind of pulled together. I chose this dark green paper specifically because it was the same shade of green that are in those enamel dots that were part of my kit. And I want to go ahead and kind of use some of those enamel dots. So I'm going to get these strips kind of situated. I am sort of taking inspiration for the colors and the patterns from that striped paper, that diagonal striped paper there. And I don't have the best photos. These are not great photos, but that's okay. So I'm going to move them. This is where I decide, okay, we got to go the other direction. So what these photos are these are the photos that you get at amusement parks when they snap pictures on the rides. And my youngest son, you guys have no idea. Like, he's such a grump. He's hilarious and funny, but Logan is. But he's also incredibly introverted. And so he had this thing when we went to the amusement park that when he knew they were going to snap a picture of him on the ride, he had to cross his arms. He also was wearing a mask and refused to smile. So I have these two seriously hilarious photos because I then had to buy them because he was so funny in them. And then his older brother, Morgan, thought that his idea to not smile for the photos and to have this like completely bored look on their face was super hilarious. So he was helping with the photos. So I have these two photos that I purchased at the amusement park of the boys on the rides, and they're hilarious. So I wanted to scrapbook them, but of course they're from the goofy like roller coaster cameras, so it's not like they're like good photos or well lit or like anything. So that's fine. I'm just gonna go with it. So I'm adding all these different strips. You can see that I really like grabbed the strips a lot. I oftentimes, as I kind of put this layout together here, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you a little bit about the sketches, where I get them and where you can find them. So I have a public Pinterest account. Pinterest, my name, I believe, is Shy Scrapper, all one word, all lowercase. Pinterest was probably like the first place I ever had a social media account of any kind. So Pinterest is where I collect and curate all of the sketches. So I have a board that has all the sketches I've used, and I do update it once a week or two. And I also, that's where I collect them all. So if you go to Pinterest and you just type in Laura Whitaker's sketches, that's how you'll get all the sketches. You'll find all the ones I've used plus tons more. So just so you know, in case you're interested, that's how you can kind of find the sketches. All right, so I'm going to do a little bit of faux sewing on this spread, on this layout. There is beautiful stitches on the sketch. I love the stitches. The stitches were part of the reason I chose this sketch. And so I'm going to go ahead and use these rub-ons to add some stitches to my layout. Anytime you see any sort of stitching on my page, it is never real stitching. It is always rub-ons or stamps. So once I have my faux stitching down, I'm going to work on my title. My title is going to be a bit long, and I'm going to use a lot of different alphabets from my stash to create it. I went ahead and used two of the sets of letters from my kit, my Mega Summer Kit, until I ran out of words or letters, including I used some Z's and sat them on their side to be N's. Once I had used up all the letters from my stash or from my kit that I could, that I could make. I made all the words I could. I grabbed these tile letter stickers from Kelly Perky to create the last larger words of my title. So the full title is When You Take an Introvert to an Amusement Park. And in the close-ups, you'll see my kid and what he did, and then you'll understand completely. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a couple of clusters using some Scrap and Happy Studio epoxy flares. I have these amusement park ones. I used these on a different layout earlier this month, so I'm going to use the rest of them on this layout. I'm going to go ahead and pair the epoxy flare with more of those stitched rub-ons. I have these shapes, and I'm going to use the two circles, kind of cut them apart. I also am going to punch a couple of circles from that purple paper. I don't want a ton of embellishing here. We have all this color. We have all these patterns. We have a pretty eye-catching title. We just need a couple little things. When you use a lot of pattern paper like this, it's best to keep those embellishments really simple. And then the last little thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and add some of these enamel dots and kind of just sprinkle them around. And that's going to pull in that deep dark green color that we have in the pattern paper on the layout. And then we are done. Here are all of your close-ups. Hopefully, starting next month, I'll be back on my regular posting schedule of Wednesday evening. This was Logan's first week of school. So everything's kind of just like coming in right at the deadline or after. So have a wonderful day, and I'll see you later. Bye.